Hey you guys, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another episode of this Piscean Reports. How you guys doing today? Hopefully you are having a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are when you're seeing this. 9 times out of 10 it's not going to go up until later this afternoon, so probably afternoon, evening. But anyway, um, so for those of you, I don't know if I said it, but those of you who are new to my channel, welcome aboard. For those of you who are returning, I always say welcome back, you guys. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so I wanted to talk about something. Um, I was chit-chatting with someone, and the question came up of why does our beloved Father allow bad things to happen to us? Why does He allow some of the things that take place in the world to happen? I did want to say this. Now, on a grander global scale, I would probably need it to get a little deeper, but I'm going to keep this one more like in terms of why does the Father allow things to happen to us on an individual level. So, hold on, I got to get out of here in a minute. I got to go to work in a minute. So I just kind of wanted to give me some of this real quick. Sorry. So good. Oh my God. Woo, nothing like a morning cup of coffee, right? So, I want you guys to consider, and I thought about this as I was getting ready this morning, making my morning coffee. You know, if you are someone who is saying, why is the Most High our Father? If there's a God, why is He allowing something that's either uncomfortable or bad to happen to you? And I want you guys to, this is the analogy that came to my mind this morning. Consider those of you who have had children. Consider the fact that you love your child so much. Like when they're babies, all they got to do is go and immediately you come a running, right? But there gets to that point in their development when they are, let's say, sitting on the floor and they're doing that and they're reaching up to you and they're wanting your assistance and everything in you wants to come a running. But at some point, something in you says, and I feel it's our Father, or that higher energy that says, hold up a sec, and allow them. Because if you've noticed, a baby will cry and reach for you and say, come get me, come get me. But when you pull back and when you just kind of hold up, it is then when the baby then tries to come to you. You won't come to me, fine, I'm gonna come to you. I'm gonna get my mommy, I'm gonna get mom, and so that's when they start to try to either crawl towards you, and sometimes I've seen parents kind of step back a little bit, and it even gets to that point where they say, okay, I'm gonna try to walk. You know what I mean? And so that is our Father. Consider that. When you are, let's say you're homeless and you're saying to yourself, why would the Father allow such a thing? And at some point in life or in the time that you are homeless, you're reaching to the heavens. You're saying, help me, help me. Why are you letting this happen? How can this, how can you allow me and my family to go homeless? How can and you think that God doesn't see you. You think God doesn't know you. He doesn't love you. There can't be a God. Why would it allow something so ugly or so difficult to happen to you? And then I want to tell you guys, there was a point when I was homeless once upon a time. And there were moments when I would say, why? Like, why is this happening? It wasn't a situation where I was, help me. It was just like, why are you letting this happen? Like, why? But I gave grace to it at the same time. It was like, I remember being homeless and staring out a window at a shelter, and I was watching the sunset, and I was just thinking, man, I don't know why this is happening. I don't know. Like, what am I going to do? And I'm contemplating in that moment. And I feel that a lot of you guys might be in that situation right now where you're saying, why? But I will say this, eventually, I allowed the process to happen, because in order for me to qualify for a specific program where they would help you get an apartment, you qualified, you've been homeless for X number of time, period, and you now officially qualify, and wow, look at this, here goes, and that literally happened. I was homeless for a period, for I think 18 months you had to be in order to qualify for this program, and I feel like that's probably what's happening with you guys right now. Sometimes we don't understand why things are happening. Why would the Father allow something so difficult? Why is he allowing, the job to close? What am I going to do? What are we going to do? Why are you allowing us to just be homeless? Why are you not, interfering? Why are you not stepping in? Like, why? But I will say this, there comes that period when you come out of it. And you're able to look back at that time, and recognize and realize you are stronger. You are stronger for having gone through it, So if anybody is struggling at this time, whether it's homelessness, whether you just lost a job, whether it's something going on in your world, and you're saying to yourself, why would God, if there's a God, why would he allow something to happen? And sometimes God will take a step back and allow, you to experience something, because whatever it is going to make you stronger. It's going to elevate you in some way, because for all you needed to know what it was like to be homeless, because you're going to do something later on down the line, maybe something you're going to experience something difficult, you and your children, but because you have gone through it in the period of your life when you did, you are now stronger, so that when your children grow up and if God forbid, something should happen or anything difficult, they can look back to that moment when, they didn't have and they were going through, but God saw them through it. He saw them through it. He will see you through this. Whatever this period in your life is, he will see you through it. You learn ingenuity. There's a lot of people who, okay, I'm homeless. Let's see if we can't make this work. I do still have my car, and let's buy these things like that. If you're someone who's in a shelter, okay, I don't know why this is happening, but maybe you meet someone in the shelter that you wouldn't have met otherwise, and you guys get together, and from that point on, you guys come out of a situation, both of you stronger, and you guys have that experience, of what it's like to struggle, what it's like to not have. So that strengthens you, that strengthens your bond. You guys are able to go and make things happen and appreciate the good that comes out on the other side. You see what I'm saying? So, why does things happen? Sometimes, it's necessary. It's for our growth. Consider when you're going through something and you are struggling and you're reaching up and excuse me, and you're going through something, you're reaching up and you're saying, why? Consider that. Like, think about, when I was thinking about that, I envisioned your ancestors, your passed on loved ones, your grandmother, grandfather, mom, dad is wanting to reach out and help you. And then I see the all-knowing hand hold them back. I know you love them. I know you want to help them. I understand. But hold on, I'm doing this for a reason. This is happening for a reason, and you just see them looking at you lovingly, and saying, you got this. Maybe the Father will say, you know what, you can't help them, but you can ease, their suffering, speak to their spirit, let them know that you're here on some level, I remember a situation I went through, and there was a moment when I was asleep. I was laying in bed, and I felt someone lean down and kiss me, and kiss. I felt the kiss so clear and so real that I literally thought it was the person I was seeing at the time, and I pushed him away and said, "Stop." And I said, "No." And I go to turn over, and the person that I was with was literally laying in the bed next to me, knocked out. And then I looked up, and and I know. So consider, that the Father will say, those of your loved ones see you going through it. Someone sees you. Your ancestors, your someone sees you, and maybe He will allow them to just. Okay, go ahead, because maybe their heart is breaking for you. If something is so difficult and you're struggling, you're having such a tough time, and then they just lean in, and He allows them the grace in the moment to just lean in and kiss you, just to make you aware they're there. They're there. They're on the other side, but they're there. They never leave us. And I've said that a million times. I'll say it again. Trust and believe. I know they never leave you. And maybe they will find a way. They will ask, the Father, can I at least let them know that I'm with them, that I'm here? That helps. That goes a long way too, knowing that your loved ones see your suffering. They see you going through it, but you will get it. You will make it out on the other side. You will, So, and then also experience, like I said, we came here to experience things. And if we came here and everything we experienced was good and great, essentially it would be just like being on the other side, except you're just on you're on a landmass now instead of being in the angelic realm. And you can't grow from that. You need these experiences. This is why we come down to experience the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it, because what's the point of coming down if 24/7 all we experience is good? You don't learn from good. You don't grow from good. You don't evolve. Good doesn't necessarily make you smarter, but adversity does, struggle does, sometimes trauma, losing someone you love, sometimes. We have to remember, as horrible as it is, sometimes we did come to experience something, and those are the things that test you, that test your faith, because some people say, how could you allow this to happen, Father? How could you, and then sometimes, we agree on the other side that we're going to experience ABC and XYZ, and when we're here, we, forget. But that experience, when you transition back and they ask you, what did you learn? I learned what it is to lose someone you love. I've learned loss. I've learned profound sorrow. I've learned what it is to experience sorrow on such a scale and such a level, and those are the things that elevate us at the end of the day, And then finally, I want to say this, consider this as well. I tell you guys all the time, we are being tested. We come here. This earth is our beautiful, amazing school, right? And so we've come here to be tested. Consider, we'll consider the story of Moses, right? Time and time and time again, Moses was tested. When he was going up against his brother, when he was, asked, when Pharaoh would ask him to do ABC or XYZ, and he would go and he would win. When he conquered Ethiopia and all these other kind of, challenges that he had, right? And when the Ethiopian king and his sister came before Pharaoh, and Dude said, command them to kneel before Pharaoh. And he said, no, I bring them in friendship. You see what I'm saying? Time and time and time again, Moses was tested, and every single time he passed. He could have said, nope, I'm gonna overcome Ethiopia, and I'm gonna make them my person, make them my be, and he didn't. He did the right thing. I'm here. We are here. Maybe they conquered, but we come in friendship. We want you guys to be an ally for us, and that was the smarter and the wiser move. Not every conflict needs to end in domination. He learned, he passed the test. Instead of dominating another person, come to them in friendship, come as an ally, come in this amazing way. And so time and time he was tested. He could have just went ahead and become Pharaoh, ruler of Egypt. But no, his spirit, his soul, his integrity, again, passing another test. The experience of learning integrity. Sometimes we are tested, and time again, Moses found favor in the Father because he just kept passing all these tests. And I want to say this, you guys, really consider that. The tiniest thing, you very well may be tested at this time, and you don't know. You never know. I think so many of us have the potential to find favor in the Lord in that way, on that level, on that scale, but sometimes we don't even look at it that way, and we flunk the test every single time. I'm gonna give you a tiny example of what I mean. I saw a video yesterday about, and in this video, as these people were leaving out, this person dumped, there's the register, and here's this basket with mints, and the person dumped all the mints in their bag and walked out, and kept walking out. And I feel like, and when I looked at that, I said, wow, you were tested, and you flunked the test. Some people think that stuff is cute or it's funny, but you don't know how small the test can be. When I was working I worked in a kitchen, and in the kitchen there were businesses in the church kitchen, and I worked for a company who was renting out the kitchen, and were making stuff, and so there was this group of people. They had a business there too, and they had a whole bunch of sodas in the back because it was they work for on the weekend. What do you call those things? Farmers market type situation, anyway, so their business, they stocked and stored their stuff in the back, and so they had all these sodas, and this gentleman would go and he would get a soda, and he would always go get some of their sodas, and I would say, did you pay for that? And then he said, no, they ain't gonna miss these sodas, they ain't even thinking about it. And he gave me one, and I felt on some level, because I was in the beginning of my spiritual walk, and I was learning. I had learned as I was going along about having integrity and tests. And so here's this moment, and I'm looking at the soda, and I want the soda so bad, but I was like, I can't just do that. I can't do that. So I went in the back, and I went in my purse, and I took out an envelope, and I put the $1 in the purse, and I wrote on there, I took a soda, and I slid it under all the sodas in the can, like they were in a little crate like that, and I slid it under there so that when they find it, they will see okay, somebody took it, and they paid for it. So that's great, right? It's little things. It's little things like that. You never know what you're being tested on. Are you being tested on being honest? Are you being tested at this time to have integrity? Because as you graduate, as you continue passing tests, you elevate, just like Moses did. Every test, no matter how small, is an opportunity for you to learn, to grow, to show integrity, to learn the lesson of honesty, trust, all those things, and it could be anything. We're tested all the time. And I want to invite you guys to kind of consider that. Don't always, just because you see an opportunity to get over on somebody, just because you see an opportunity to take advantage, understand that you might very well be being tested in that moment. And pass the test. Pass the test. Because there are a lot of us. God is looking for the best of the best. And we are all being tested day after day after day, moment after moment after moment, in the same way Moses was. And Moses found so much favor in God, and he blessed him in every way he could for them back then, And I think God is going to bless you as well. If he sees that you're someone who has honor, if he sees you have integrity, if he sees you're kind, if he sees you're good, if he finds favor in you, then he will raise you up higher, and it will cause others to become jealous, because they're going to say, well, why is that one? Who are they that they should get blessed and honored? Well, they passed tests. They pass little tests, and every little test is a rung of that ladder of success. So consider that. Sometimes we are here to experience, right? To experience things. This is how we get to know God, through experience. And I'm going to present situations to you, are you going to pass the test or are you not? And, and you will continue to get tested, because maybe you'll flunk that time, but then here comes another chance. Here comes another opportunity. I went to the grocery store yesterday, and there was a candy bar that I wanted. And I thought I had put all my groceries up there. And I just happened to glance over, and I see that in the basket that it kind of slipped down. And nobody would have noticed it. Nobody. I could have kept my mouth shut and let them continue to put those bags in there and just casually sauntered out and been up a free candy bar, But I didn't. I looked at it and I went over and I got it. And I'm going to pay for it, Pass the test. Pass the test. It's important. It's important. If you want God to show up and show out in your life, pass the tests. So anyway, those are the messages that I wanted to leave for you guys. And hopefully I'm not going to look back and see I missed my bus. I hope you guys enjoyed the messages that I have for you today. But yeah, God, he loves us. Don't think just because you're going through something that God has forsaken you, or he doesn't love you, he's forgotten about you. The Father sees you, he knows you, he loves you. He does. It's just that you're going through something. You came here to experience things. So experience them, and understand that at any moment you could be tested by the other side, and pass the test. Pass the test, because something so small, you thinking that this thing is so small, but it will be that little thing that God finds favor. And because you did that, I'm not going to elevate you. I'm not going to give you this. I'm going to do that. And you're going to keep saying, wow, God is so good. My life is so good. Why is it so good? Why is it so amazing? Because you passed those tests. You're finding favor in God, and God is blessing you. And then when you do go through adversity, understand it's the love. Number one is experience. You came to here to experience something, and it's in the tough times that you grow. It's in the tough times that you are elevated. It's in the tough times that you're being tested, and that you can win a crown of glory in the eyes of on the other side. See them applauding, whistling, yeah, woo, you did it. And you could just be thinking to yourself, well, you never know. Whatever. I'm just saying, because just look at it however you want to. Nobody else has to know you see it that way, but for sure, you never know. You never know. But I do know this, our Father is, and we did come here to experience things. It is in the experience that you get to know God that much more. You don't have to have faith. You don't have to believe, I think he is. It's what they tell me, I hope. No, it's in the experience that they are. If you keep getting tested in opportunities where you could have got over and you chose to do the right thing, that's them. That's them testing you, and you're passing the tests, and you're being elevated every single time. Every single time. Okay? So remember that. Remember that. God's testing you. He's looking for the next Moses. Maybe he's looking for a team of Moses. because he's going to get all of you guys together and you're going to do something amazing and wonderful. And yeah, let's go. Let's do this. You know, you never know. You never know. You know, God's going to, you know, you're somebody who is shown favor in my eyes. You passed tests. You've shown integrity and grace and mercy and goodness when you could have done wrong. And so I'm going to bless you with someone who is deserving of your who is deserving of you. You know, I'm going to bless you with children, or I'm going to bless you, you know, more abundantly financially, and he'll just continue to show all this favor in your life. And everybody's going to be saying, what is going on with that one? Why? And it's because you are doing all the right things. You know, you're going to be that next Moses. You know, you'll be, pick anyone in whatever religious text you find, you know, or you don't even have to use religious text. If there's someone that you look at in the world, you know, a star, an athlete, someone, and you say, boy, they just continue to have favor. They, you know, it isn't, you know, they're taking their gifts and they're using them and they're shining and it's amazing. And I wish I was them. You can be them. Just do the right thing. Do right. That's what this is all about. You know, I keep telling you guys, I think we are trying to get to that point, a return to normalcy, a return to where good is the order of the day. You know, I think people do wrong because they don't know any better. They don't know they're being tested. They don't know, you know, because like I said, we become so comfortable with doing wrong all the time that you don't even realize that these are the things that test you, and your life stays here. And you're like, why am I not elevating? Why is my life not getting better? Why? Well, like I said, you know, are you passing the tests? Are you doing the right thing when you have the opportunity to? You know, God sees all. And if not him, he certainly has an angelic team. Your angels, your guides, they see, they report, you know. Just saying. All right, I'm going to go. I hope you guys like the message for today, or the thoughts, not even a message per se, just thoughts, you know, that I wanted to share with you guys. You know, God's here, even in the bad times. Trust. Just see him holding back his love. He's holding back. You're being tested. It isn't that he likes seeing you go through this, but you agreed to come down and experience things, and you and your loved ones, he's holding them back. They want to come pick up their baby, and it's gonna be okay, baby, it's gonna be okay. But no, he's holding them back. You know, and like I said, maybe every now and then he will give them the opportunity to let you know they're there. And the same way, I feel like that was my father that gave me a kiss, because my mom hadn't transitioned yet, and neither had my grandmother at that point. And to feel that kiss, and I was like, whoa, like I felt it. And then to wake up and there's nobody there, but I felt the kiss. Like, baby, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I'm so proud of you. I love you. Look at my poor baby. Look at what she's going through. And let me just give her a kiss. I hate what's happening. And then he said, okay. And he let him kiss me. And that stayed with me my whole life. Somebody on the other side shown mercy or felt sorry for me. And so much so that they just wanted to give me a little kiss, just to let you know, my poor baby. Mwah. You know, it's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You know? All right, I'm going to go. Sorry, I keep saying I'm going to go, but this time I'm really going to go. All right, I will talk to you guys next time on the next video. You guys have a great rest of your day. Pass the test. Do the right thing, even when nobody's looking. You could get over it, and yeah, you'll get over, but are you past? Those are the tests. Look at it as a test. Oh my God, I want to do that. But how do you know you're not being watched? How do you know you're not being tested? How do you know? Pass the test. That is when the elevation comes. When you consistently do right, even when it's the easiest thing. Doing wrong is the easiest thing in the world to do. Okay? All right. I love you guys. I will see you next time on the next video. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.